Jack Kerouac, an American writer best known for his novel On the Road, written in 1949, which describes his travels into the American West and through the lands of Mexico. After Kerouac's novel gained popularity and Kerouac himself achieved celebrity, he was recognized by the public as the father of the Beat generation, a generation of young intellectuals who in the 50s rejected the traditional values of American society. Most people don't realize that Kerouac wrote On the Road 7 years before he gained recognition for his work, and that during those 7 years of relative obscurity, Kerouac developed as both a man and a writer. His development, however, was observed by the ever-skeptical American people, and his religious decisions were constantly questioned. The son of a paper printer and a factory worker, Kerouac grew up as part of the American lower middle class. As a child, Kerouac loved to write, but as he grew older and developed as an athlete, Kerouac's focus shifted from writing to athletics. Eventually, Kerouac received a scholarship from Columbia to play football. However, he sustained an injury only 2 games into the season. Because of his injury, Kerouac was afforded the opportunity to pursue his true passion, literature. Kerouac's On the Road chronicles the events of Saul Paradise in France, monikers for Kerouac and his friends, who are on a physical journey to find spiritual rewards. Kerouac's journey actually lasted 3 years, though Kerouac managed to chronicle these events during a 3-week-long drug-induced frenzy. Kerouac went on for 7 years in relative obscurity before attaining fame for his novel. However, the adventures Kerouac writes about in On the Road reflect his thoughts as a young man, and after 7 years, Kerouac had developed and matured. Kerouac had already internalized the truths he had uncovered in On the Road. For Kerouac, the search continued. For Kerouac, reading Dwight Goddard's A Buddhist Bible in 1954 marked the official beginning of his immersion into Buddhism. However, Kerouac had first taken an interest in Eastern thought in 1946 when he read Heinrich Zimmer's Myths and Symbols in Indian Art and Civilization. In 1955, Kerouac wrote a biography of Siddhartha Gautama entitled Wake Up. Many fans were disappointed because, to them, the party boy turned celebrity had sold out. His image as a soulful and inquisitive wanderer, a charade. The Buddhist community did not accept Kerouac's conversion to Buddhism either, believing Kerouac was simply exploring alternative schools of thought, and all the while tarnishing the reputation and integrity of the Buddhist religion. The switch to Buddhism negatively affected Kerouac's career. Not only was he harshly criticized by skeptical American people, but the Buddhist people, from whom he would learn, doubted his resolve.
The Buddhist philosophers preach daily living in simplicity, peace, gratitude, wisdom, and compassion. Simplicity as a way of life focuses attention on the absolute essentials and serves as an effective practice to clear the many obstructions that inhibit our deep hearing of the sacred call of life. Simplicity as a Buddhist practice strips away the inevitable distractions of the 20th century life that compete for our attention and keep us under the torrent of addictions, fears, and unrestrained materialism. Instead, simplicity directs individuals to look at what is truly important for their spiritual journey and the achievement of enlightenment and nirvana. Buddhism teaches its followers that everything in life has a connection, whether that connection be a simple touch or a crossing of paths. Throughout most of Jack Kerouac's life, he was seen as the beat party in a bottle, who always wanted to have a good time. Kerouac felt that society had misinterpreted both his book and his movement. As he fell deeper into depression, he began to drink more and more heavily, trying to fill a void. Many scholars suggest that this void was the same void Kerouac searched to fill in On the Road. His solution to this void, his parole in life, was soon filled by the teachings of and his immersion into Buddhism, For Kerouac, Buddhism offered simplicity, truth, selectable paths of life, philosophies, and sophistication. During Kerouac's search for the pearl and on the road, he encounters many peoples with the Fellaheen qualities. The Fellaheen embodied everything that the Buddhists called their own, and that Kerouac could not seem to acquire. As a result, Kerouac viewed the Fellaheen as the ideal people for their simplicity and pure Buddhist-like qualities. And for that reason, in his novel On the Road, as the story progresses, he tries more and more to disassociate himself with American qualities and associate himself with the Fellaheen.
His sudden celebrity was probably the worst thing that could have happened to him, because his moral and spiritual decline in the next few years was shocking. Trying to live up to the wild image he presented in On the Road, he developed a severe drinking habit that dimmed his natural brightness and aged him prematurely. His Buddhism failed him, or he failed it. He could not resist a drinking binge, and his friends began viewing him as needy and unstable. He published many books during these years, but most had been written earlier, during the early 50s, when he could find no publisher. He kept busy, appearing on TV shows, writing magazine articles, and recording 3 spoken word albums. But his momentum as a serious writer had been completely disrupted. Like Kurt Cobain, another countercultural celebrity, who seemed to be truly, as opposed to fashionably, miserable, Kerouac expressed his unhappiness nakedly in his art and was not taken seriously. In 1961, he tried to break his drinking habit and rediscover his writing talents with a solitary nature retreat in Big Sur. Instead, the vast nature around him creeped him out, and he returned to San Francisco to drink himself into oblivion. He was cracking up, and he laid out the entire chilling experience in his last great novel, Big Sur. Defeated and lonesome, he left California to live with his mother in Long Island, and would not stray from his mother for the rest of his life. He would continue to publish and remain mentally alert and aware, though always drunken. He would continue to publish and remain mentally alert and aware, but his works after Big Sur displayed a disconnected soul, a human being sadly lost in his own curmudgeonly illusions.
In Kerouac's writings, we get glimpses of his affinity for Buddhism.
There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch and it's bringing me out the dark. Finally, I can see you crystal clear. Go ahead and sell me out and I'll lay your ship bare.